And so this year's check,
Oh, look at that.
$74,000.
Whoa! Hey, every year we get together with some dear friends of ours, and we, I don't know, we make a little magic. If I should say so myself. This is our 5th annual DeLonghi Days of Giving. Our friends at DeLonghi, of course, we've had such a very, very fantastic partnership with them throughout the years. Not only have they kept us caffeinated and given us great gifts to give our listeners, but also what we're doing today has been just the star on the tree, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't even know where to start. Let's start with Gretchen. Gretchen Holt is here, and she, of course, is from Cookies for Kids Cancer. And we've been partners for years as well, right? I mean, Gretchen, let's start with Cookies for Kids Cancer. Explain to everyone what it's all about and why we come back every year and do this.
You got it. Well, what it's all about and why we come back every year is because, unfortunately, pediatric cancer is the #1 disease killer of children in the U.S. It kills more children than asthma, AIDS, MS, and MD combined. Unfortunately, though, on top of it, it gets one of the smallest slices of funding from both our federal government and from private sector. So after my son, Liam, was diagnosed with cancer, we went through a horrific battle, which all children go through. And I knew that there was a treatment in development and said, you know what? I need to give back, because at that point in time, Liam was cancer-free. And I really felt that it was necessary for us to show our appreciation for the miracle of science and to help other kids who were not as fortunate. So I had the crazy idea, which I know that you've heard, and I know your listeners have heard, to bake 96,000 cookies, which seemed very reasonable at that point in time. It's only 8,000 dozen. So I set about doing that with the help of some volunteers. What should have been, what I thought was going to be a one-time project that was going to raise maybe $225,000, wound up raising over $420,000, because most people said, I heard what you're doing, keep the cookies, save them for somebody else, I just want to help. And what we realized, my husband and I realized, is that we had hit a nerve with people and come up with a way to talk about a really difficult topic by talking about good cookies, and could bring them into the conversation without scaring them off. So that led to the development of Cookies for Kids Cancer. When Cookies for Kids Cancer launched, we had no idea if anybody was going to be interested or what was going to happen. We are now $16 million in funding later.
Wow.
Over 13,000 grassroots events in all 50 states and 20 countries. And interestingly enough, during the pandemic, you would think that our grassroots events would have gone down. They've actually grown by almost 25%. It's insane. It's crazy. Yeah. So the number of people who want to help is just like, and that's the thing. That's your listeners. It's DeLonghi customers. People want to help. They just need to know how. They just need a vehicle to put that energy towards. And I'd like to think that one of the things that we did was we gave people a vehicle which they could support us. And we're incredibly grateful. We are all pandemic, on pandemic overload. I get it. I totally get it. But I will tell you this. Funding, our funding, as you guys know, we were 36 hours out from having our biggest fundraising event of the year. Actually represents 50% of our revenue. So literally, I had my dancing shoes on and I was ready to greet people. And then this thing happened. And
Right.
We thought we were just postponing for a short period of time. Clearly, it's going to be a long time before we can have that signature gala event, which so many of you are familiar with. But you know what? We're figuring it out, and we will figure out other ways, because the bottom line is this. once you tell people about the need, they want to help. But you just have to figure out a way to kind of make it through the snow.
Right.
So.
And we're finding a way. And today is no exception to that. And by the way, we were just moments away from our gala. And I was so disappointed because it was not only a night where we raise a buttload of money and get a lot of attention, but also it's a night where we all got together as friends and we had cocktails together, lots of them, and lots of great food with each other. And losing that night was a major loss on so many different levels. And $16 million raised. I mean, all of the projects the grants that money has gone to. Do we have a number of how many children's focused cancers have been figured out because of the grants that we've raised money for, Gretchen?
So there's a couple of interesting facts, and I'm sure that you guys are aware of this, but the cancers that children get are different than the cancers that adults get. I didn't know that until Liam was diagnosed. So he had something called neuroblastoma. That is something that only children get. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that the cancers that children are diagnosed with are completely different than adult cancers, and therefore they need different research. So we have a separate medical advisory board that receives grant requests from the top centers across the country that are really leading the path on developments. That medical advisory board gets together and reviews each grant application. They use the same criteria that the National Cancer Institute uses to evaluate those proposals and vote on them, and then they give us their recommendations. I have nothing, and nobody from our organization has anything to do with that part, because it's science that's the winner. Science and scientists know what are the strongest grant applications. And here's the proof. There are 23 treatments that are available today that we have been a part of helping make happen.
There you go.
Nice.
That's 20. I mean,
Wow.
In fact, okay, listen to this. The treatment that we helped to fund with the 96,000 became available for kids 7 months after Liam died.
Wow.
And now today, there are thousands of children who have received that treatment. And now it's like such a normal course of day-to-day life, and not that there's anything normal about pediatric cancer, but it's now that, like, that's what you get. That's one of the frontline, that's one of the treatments that you just get. And I don't ever need anybody to know my name, my son's name. That's not important to me. What's important is that what we do and what I'm looking at these boxes do is we're giving people hope. And that is so precious. Hope is, if you don't have hope, I mean, how do we have hope right now? We have hope in a vaccine.
We have to have hope. You can't get through any of life without hope.
No.
Everything you do, hope is attached, whether it's something as simple as driving to the grocery store. I hope I get there without having a crash. You know what I'm saying? Or marching down an aisle with someone you love. I hope this lasts. Or it's about hope. Well, Gretchen, and the fact that we couldn't do the gala, this was going to be Gandhi's first time to have one of her pieces of art auctioned off.
That's right.
So there was
so excited.
There was another crushing moment.
I know.
And
but it still went, and we were able to get thousands of dollars, and that's awesome. I would never have been able to just donate that. So if I could give you a piece of art and you get that, that's awesome. And I hope you guys will include me next year.
And there will be a next year, twice as big as this year was going to be. Now, we've got to move to our friends at DeLonghi. Mike Prager, the CEO of DeLonghi. As you know, if you listen to our show, it's basically the Elvis Duran DeLonghi morning show, because DeLonghi is always some way a part of our show. Mike, thank you so much for once again coming to the table and being part of our year-end extravaganza for Cookies for Kids Cancer.
You know, we're always thrilled to be here. I would say this year, thrilled and feel especially lucky. You know, it's been a really hard year for so many folks, and you know, like Gretchen said, we got into March and the whole world turned upside down, and this is a very special and meaningful partnership for myself and my colleagues at DeLonghi. We really cherish, you know, the small way that we might be able to help, and your listeners have been able to help, and Elvis, you've been able to. So we feel really lucky to be able to be here this year, honestly. None of us knew what path it would take. So many people, you know, have really had so many challenges. So we're glad, whether it be physically in person or however, we're glad to be here with you, and thrilled of the partnerships with Cookies for Kids Cancer.
You know what? It's so easy to go, oh, DeLonghi, that looks nice. Maybe I'll buy one of those for my kitchen, whatever. But now you see, when you hear stories like this, you see that DeLonghi brand, and there's more to it. There are people there. There's heart there. They're doing things that are beyond what they could be doing in business. And that's why thank you. I mean, you're proving that beyond measure, Mike. And thank you so much for being a part of this. Look, shall we do it? Every year, Mike Prager brings that oversized check, which is just, who started this idea? It's crazy.
I love it.
And money's raised through DeLonghi, and sales at DeLonghi.com are then passed along to Gretchen on to Cookies for Kids Cancer. Gretchen, he has a big check in his office there in his house in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. He's now going, if you see this on Zoom, you'll see him passing the check from Bucks County, Pennsylvania to beautiful Califon, New Jersey. Which basically, physically, isn't that far away from each other.
I'm about to pass. I'll share that over 4 years so far, we've contributed over $200,000 with support from your listeners. Mm-hmm. You've added to that generously, Elvis, to make it over $300,000. I'll tell you, this year, we feel so lucky to actually be able to contribute even more than last year. And so this year's check,
look at that.
$74,000.
Whoa!
Oh my gosh.
There you go. It's the big badass check for $74,000 for Cookies for Kids Cancer.
That's awesome.
How did you guys do that? That's insane.
Wow.
That is awesome. Oh, Mike.
Elvis,
awesome.
I also want to point out that the sugar cookies that I have had from Cookies for Kids Cancer,
Yes.
I am not exaggerating when I tell you they are the best sugar cookies I've ever eaten in my whole life.
Oh, yeah.
They are that good.
See, there's nothing bad going on here. It's all good. But really, that check for $74,000 going from DeLonghi to Cookies for Kids Cancer. But there's just something weird about that $74,000. It just seems it's
cockeyed number, isn't it?
It's a cockeyed number. So either we have to reduce it to make it even or increase it.
No, we can't reduce it.
No.
I say we increase it and take it from 74,000 to 100,000. What do you think?
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
I don't know. Maybe that isn't good enough either.
Now, you know what that is? That's
What's
a grant. That is a grant. And last night, I was up late emailing with our partner centers because they're sitting on the edge of their seats wanting to know what our grants are going to be this year. And literally, as I'm sending emails after 11 o'clock at night, they're writing back to me because there is like all the lines are blurred of a workday. So that's one of the grants that has just been approved.
There you go.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's
All with
amazing.
the big ass check. I love the big ass check.
Yep.
Well, look, Mike, to you and all of your family at DeLonghi, again, being partnered with you is just a very special thing for us. And Gretchen, my girlfriend, look, everything you're doing with Cookies for Kids Cancer, look, what you're doing, it brings out the best, not only in people, but the best in organizations and families. DeLonghi, great example. And our show, fabulous show, huh? Let's hear it for us.
Yay,
It's really all about us. No, I'm kidding. Turn it off. Turn the music off.
Take a bow, Elvis.
But Mike, thank you. And to many more years of positive, wonderful partnership with DeLonghi. And Gretchen, there you go. Thank you for all you do.
Amazing.
Thank you, Elvis. Thank
Mike,
you. And
thank
to
you
your
so
listeners
much.
as well, because they're really, the backbone of the contributions that we make. You, Elvis Duran in the Morning Show, your generosity, all the folks around you. It means the world to us as well to be part of it. So thanks very much.
So when you see that DeLonghi brand, when you're buying something from them, it's all beautiful stuff, but it's not more form than function. It works beautifully. DeLonghi, You got to spell it though, DELONGHI.
Yeah.
That's the fiery hoop they make you jump through. You got to learn how to spell it. But you know what? We appreciate everything you guys do for us, and we, Gretchen, we can't say enough about you and Cookie. By the way, do a search for Cookies for Kids Cancer. do that today. At the very least, learn about everything they do. And then if you can help out a little bit to add to our even number, our non-cockeyed number, we'd appreciate it as well. So you have DeLonghi.com and you have Cookies for Kids Cancer.org.
.org.
Cookies.
.org. Good job.
There you go. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Seems time for a great DeLonghi espresso. That's what I say.
It does.
Yes.
Daddy needs caffeination.
I want to go to Mike's house because I want to see all the DeLonghi products he's got
I
on
thought the
display.
same thing.
In his
Like, oh, he's
house.
the coolest kitchen ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Did
can
you
make
just
I
spell
can
it
make
wrong?
you
Sorry,
many
Gretchen.
forms and versions of any espresso drink you'd like.
You do the heart in the top,
Yes.
Mike.
Yeah, exactly.
As they say in Italian, I do believe I'm correct. I like all of my DeLonghi cocktails caretto. See, is that how you say it?
See,
Yes. With booze. All right, we got to take a break. Great day. We'll be back after this.